Hello there, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Episode 18. It is February the 12th, 2020. It is Hump Day. We are in the middle of our second month of the 2020 season and getting ready to jump into this one. As you know, our This Week in Karting podcast, essentially grabbing all the news that for the last couple of weeks or potentially a month has come to the EKN homepage. We bring that. David Cole and I go over it, break it all down. Essentially, it's the homepage of the website in a podcast for a week to 2 weeks or sometimes a month, as I said. This edition of This Week in Karting brought to you by Kart Sport North America. The Kart Republic is here, and it's disturbing the status quo. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they're focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. The Kart Republic senior and junior chassis are on fire, and so is the mini kart, which is won in SCUSA, USPKS, and WKA competition. For more information, contact Kart Sport North America, where they offer up top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services. All right, David Cole, February the 12th, our last show, episode 17, January the 17th. So it's less than a month. This is progress, I think.
Math shows it's less than a month, so that's all that matters. It's progress. We had the script essentially done last week. We just ran out of time before you traveled to Florida. So it's kind of how news works. You know, sometimes you got to break stories, and sometimes you have to put pieces off until a couple of days later. It's you see it now. Not everything's breaking news. You know,
that's it. Come on, even though people may think it is, it just isn't, right?
Exactly.
Let's jump into it, Dave, because we got, I think, 4 pages of stuff to hit on this edition of This Week in Karting. And again, hello to those of you in EKN Nation. Love the fact that you're tuning in either here on the EKN Radio Network for the first airings or whether you're waiting for the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, whatever it may be. We appreciate it. David, I think one of the things that that's not much everybody, but a great number of people in the sport, mainly those at the foundation of the pyramid, those are race 206. We were waiting for that Briggs & Stratton release to come out with the 2020 Briggs 206 rule set, and finally arrived, which I think everybody was happy to see it.
It wasn't so much the actual rule set itself; it was what changes are going to be made.
Yeah.
That's kind of what everybody was anticipating. We've had this kind of cloud over the rule set for the last couple of months because back in, I want to say it was August, they talked about releasing a clutch list. And so the keyboard warriors went to work and hit the internet hard on asking for a list now. Everything, as it is in today's society, everything's about now. And Briggs took his time, had some changes happening within its structure, business-wise and at the headquarters. So, but we knew the rule set was going to be coming out in January, as it has been for the last almost now decade, pretty close to it, the last 8 years, I want to say. But so everybody was worried, was focused on what clutches are going to be listed in this rule set. That was the focus.
So let's talk about that. The list that did come out, the clutches, they are approved clutches coming from Max Torque, Hilliard, and NORAM. Those models are the ones that will be approved for 2020 in the 206 program, correct?
Yes, they have different models within those brands. And those, I want to say there's around 8 to 9 or 10 clutches, essentially, that are approved by the Briggs & Stratton rule set for 2020 season. So, again, that's for junior, master, senior, and I believe cadet too. And I think Kid Kart has its own stock clutch, but again, you'll have to go through the rule set to kind of verify that. But again, everything's listed there, exactly what's happening with the clutch clarification. But also another different rule set came about with Sparkplug, as effective March 31st, they're changing to a new Autolite spark plug, the AR3910X. So that was something that not very many people saw coming ahead. So those were really the two areas that that everybody was focused on. But also, it's now that we're into the 2020 season, there's new seals that are not new, but they're disallowing the original seals that were in place on a lot of the old Briggs 206 engines. And so now those with the black tracer wire with reflective barrel or the red and black tracer wire on the orange seals, those are the only two type seals that are allowed since January 1, 2020.
Yeah, and David, that's an article that we've talked about doing with Dan Roach from Briggs & Stratton, talking about the fact that with some of this new stuff, with coming out with new seals, there are going to be some engines that are no longer eligible to race. That doesn't mean that engine's garbage. That's the one thing about it, right, David? We've talked about getting an article together saying, hey, listen, I have an older engine. It doesn't have the right seal. What can I do with it now? Because it really becomes a base engine. You can do some things with it at that point, turn it into a pro gas, depending on what your local area runs. Otherwise, you upgrade to a new engine. But it's those older engines that we're going to work on an article on.
Well, again, not necessarily a complete engine. Again, you can go with the bottom end, just as long as your bottom end is sealed with the correct seal. You can still use it. So you can use all the components that are on the engine aside from the bottom end. So again, there's a lot to go into it, and it's something that we really need to have out probably in the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll get that done.
David, you mentioned about the fact that the new clutch is coming out, and there was also something that kind of there was some news that came out of such a press release that came out from Target Distributing right around the same time. And obviously, they try to time it because it's part of a NORAM package where one of the things about the rule set is that all the clutches now have to have a stamped drum, I believe, right? For May the 5th or something like that. So NORAM has done a deal where if you bought a NORAM clutch from Target Distributing, they're going to give you a free replacement for the drum, I believe, if you've purchased it after January 1st. If you purchased the clutch prior to January 1st, you're going to be able to buy the drum for just $10 plus shipping, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Briggs rule set is trying to limit the number of clutches that are available on the market that are legal, and again, make it cost efficient. And that's always been the key element of the Briggs & Stratton 206 packages is making it affordable for anybody to go racing, no matter if you have a 20-year-old kart or if you're pulling out a new OTK kart and you want to put a Briggs 206 engine on it. It's all about affordability, whatever, long-lasting affordability and fun. I mean, that's essentially what Briggs & Stratton racing is about. And So one of the deals had to do with the drum issues with NORAM. So now they're all coming with a stamped drum. And again, as you said, by May 5th, 2020, everybody must be converted to a stamped drum. And Target Distributing and NORAM have put in a great deal to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get that drum, whether it be free for those who have already purchased in 2020 or just for mere $10 in shipping costs. For those who purchased before that.
Again, that was a pretty big thing that came down the pipe. Everybody was waiting for the 2020 rule set coming from Briggs, and we appreciate that getting out. And, of course, we did what we could to promote that on ekartingnews.com. David, let's go to a different program and talk about the United States Pro Kart Series because they confirmed their 2020 season, essentially letting everybody know that they were sticking with the 3 events. I know they had talked about, David, adding a 4th event. Mark Coates is saying they will do that for 2021, but with the jam schedule that we had this year, they elected to stick with just the 3 events. But I think some of the massive news was $15,000, a weekend cash purse at all 3 races. Talk a little bit about the money going out because $5,000 to win overall on the weekend and X30 Pro. That's huge money.
It's certainly a step up from what they had last year. It's the same 2 categories that they're going to provide cash purses for, X30 Pro being one of them, and then X30 Pro Junior being the other. Last year was the top 3 finishers in each category got to take home some cash, along with MG Tires as well too. MG Tires is sticking around again as presenting sponsor, along with IMA USA East. So they're big parts into this increase in the cash purse. And as you said, $5,000 now is going to be the prize for the overall weekend winner in X30 Pro. And they're going to money down all the way down to 5th place this year. $2,500 for second, $1,250 for third, $750 for fourth, and $500 for fifth. So all 5 drivers will take home some cash. X30 Pro Junior, it's going to be a $2,500 payday, $1,500 for second, $750 for third, and then they're going to give fourth place a $500 check as well. And again, all weekend winners get MG tires as well, as long as I believe podium finishers as well too.
Pretty fantastic addition to the program. And I think, David, you've been there. We've been doing the ECAN Trackside Live program with you and Tim Cohen on the mic for a number of years now. So you've seen the thing grow. You can talk a little bit about how last year, they got up to, I believe they hit their record number at one of the events. And I think everybody's expecting it to be even bigger here in 2020.
Newcastle was a record event. Their finale that was just a couple weeks before the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals at Newcastle. This year, they're hoping to break that at Ocala coming up here in March for the 2020 opener. They're getting a lot of feedback from a lot of racers that are interested in following the full program that haven't yet followed the complete series. So young drivers, some new drivers, some new teams coming over to race it for the first time. So once we get closer, we'll kind of dive into who's coming and who's going to be standing out for the 2020 season. But yeah, it should be another record breaking season for the USPKS.
Well, we'll definitely, before that race, do one of our ECAN Outlet preview podcasts. But I know in talking to Mike Rawlson from the Rawlson Performance Group, they're taking their squad to USPKS this year. I'm sure money kind of probably played a bit of a role in that, as did numbers, because numbers breed numbers. But to see RPG there, I think that's a really good get for the guys at the USPKS program.
Yeah, you just kind of ruined it for me, but whatever.
What did I ruin?
Well, we didn't have to say it now. We could have waited later, but okay, we'll go with it.
We'll talk about which drivers are going to be there next.
RPG is going to be one. I think you're going to see a few more Florida teams coming up. Having that opener in Ocala has really kind of opened the eyes to a lot of the Florida teams. You're probably going to see some Texas teams moving over. They've had Iron Rock Motorsports be there the last couple of years, so maybe some other drivers from the Texas region coming over as well. It's turning into what is going to be a phenomenal 2020 season, and we might even see some international drivers because the program has now been added to the U.S. national calendar, so is now recognized by FIA to be an event where drivers who have an international license can come and race without having any marks up against them for competing in a non-sanctioned event. So we may even see some more international drivers take part in the USPKS.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool news. And just for those of you who may be looking at going to Ocala in the opening round of the USPKS, registration opening on February the 22nd, about 10 days from now. Make sure to get your entry in. You know what? I wonder if it's Ocala. So I got to think, David, they're going to be capping classes because at 0.6 of a mile, that's not a huge racetrack. They're not going to be able to go 50, 60 guys in the categories. So you should probably get yourself entered as soon as it opens up. Yeah,
I don't think we've ever had 50, but it's a possibility. You never know. I think with the seven categories, I can't count off the top of my head now. But yeah, you're averaging at least 20 per category. And yeah, so I would definitely like to see, they're probably going to see numbers between 30 and 40 for sure.
All right. Okay. That's solid. All right. We got one more bit here before we jump into our first break in the action on this episode of This Week in Karting, episode 18, again, February the 12th. Myself, Rob Howden, and David Cole give you some of the information that we've had on the homepage of eKarting News. David, some really big news. And we had heard kind of rumblings of it, then all of a sudden, boom, it's happening. And the WKA is going to be returning to that historic circuit inside Charlotte Motor Speedway, inside NASCAR's turns 3 and 4. There was a number of fantastic races that were known as the North American Karting Championships there. All the Europeans came over. Guys like Fernando Alonso and Kimi Räikkönen all came and raced at that particular event in the mid-90s. There was also the CIK-FIA Formula C World Championships in 1998, all on this track that was essentially, when not being a go-kart track, was kind of the access roads for RVs and that kind of thing. But and David, we've been lamented it for many, many years, talking about the fact how great it would be to have that track to get repaved. You went and looked at it last year and said it was bumpy as hell. Well, dude, they listened to you. You're making stuff happen.
I guess now that I've been in the sport for 15 years as a journalist, maybe people are starting to listen to me a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
No, probably not.
No. Why?
Let's talk about this.
Why start
this
now?
Is big.
It wasn't so much the fact that it was bumpy; it was the fact that it was missing sections in the pavement.
Yeah,
that. I mean, if you want to do, some rallycross, I mean, it might have worked out a little bit for that type of racing on karts, but to make it a full competition track, they definitely needed to lay down some pavement, and that's exactly what they're doing. Looking at the diagrams, it's going to be exactly the same, but they're talking about making some additions to it to make it to where they can run different configurations. So nice. Construction's underway right now. So again, the first event set for April 17th through 19th. That's going to be part of the Charlotte Motor Speedway Karting Challenge. That also includes the road race now taking on the complete rollable track, something they were unable to do because the Manufacturer Cup Series took over part of the infield. So now that they're over at the track where they should be, the karting track where they should be, the road racers now get that full track advantage. So I think you're going to see a big influx of road racers heading there. And of course, the dirt race that took place at the dirt track across the street was massive last year. And I think it's going to be even bigger this year. Now that people saw what the track was last year, and again, karters are weird people because they always like to sit on the fence and see what happens and not just go after it. And so I think all three events are going to be huge for WK.
Now, Dave, I mentioned all the amazing events that have been there before. That North American Karting Championships was really kind of what this new Charlotte Motor Speedway Karting Challenge is all about, because back in the day with that North American Karting Challenge, it was the Formula A and JICA, and there was a number of categories running on the sprint track. It was a full-on oval, full-on road race on the big track, as you had mentioned. And then there was a pavement race on the outside of the track at Outback Speedway. There's a little oval. I'm not sure if it's still there.
It is still there.
Last year, is that? Yeah. It is there. Okay. They used to run a WK pavement National Series race out there. And then, of course, turned to the big Briggs & Stratton 300, which was the 300 lapper on the oval in the front straightaway. That was always a big race, big money to win, and 100 guys would try to qualify into the show. It was a ton of fun. But Dave, so the thing now, which I find interesting, is obviously the race, April 17th, 18th, 19th. But the WK is also bringing another event on the Man Cup to Charlotte, moving the event that was set for July 24th to 26th. So they'll be back twice, which is, I think, really cool. You mentioned more configurations. Have you talked to anybody? Is there potential for a different configuration for that trip?
That's what the press release said. They're looking at doing a different configuration. So that's leading us to... they're going to do something different, whether it's backwards or different turns. I'm not quite sure because, again, we haven't seen a finished product of the racetrack. So I'm guessing we'll probably see something in the next, probably next month, probably by the time they get done with that. But yeah, the event, the third event of the Manufacturers Cup Series was scheduled for Newcastle in mid-July. This event is now moved to the end of July and moved over to Charlotte Motor Speedway. So again, a different configuration. And so it'll host WK will host two events at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And there is a little bit of talk about a third event taking place on that circuit in 2020. Some organizations sent a little teaser last week. If you caught it on Twitter or Facebook, you might kind of recognize it, but it looks like there might be a Rock Cup USA event scheduled for Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Interesting, for sure. We'll keep you up to date on that, ladies and gentlemen. Well, folks, there's our first segment here on This Week in Karting. When we get back, we're going to talk about an event down at Atlanta Motorsports Park, a little bit of information on MG Tires. We'll talk about a brand new program starting at what was a private track in Cincinnati. We'll talk about that at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, and we'll cap off with a little bit more information about the Ignite program, Margie Ignite program, which continues to grow here in 2020. Stay with us, folks. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. 25 years of experience, 25 years of success. Greg Bell and Leading Edge Motorsports are heading into their third decade in the sport with winning momentum and the best material possible. Last year's monumental victories at the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals have proven what the sport has long known. Greg Bell is one of the finest karting tuners, and he and his drivers can get the job done. Looking for a change in equipment? Get on board with Leading Edge Motorsports. Leading Edge is North America's factory team for Formula K and Praga karts, and the new 2020 models are in stock and ready for pickup or shipping to your garage. Do you want to win like Danny Formal did with Leading Edge in Las Vegas? Call Greg Bell today at 209-369-0921 to secure your place on the team. Leading Edge Motorsports will be trackside in 2020 at the Challenge of the Americas, SCUSA Pro Tour and California Pro Kart Challenge, Rock Sonoma, and the KPX Karting Championship in NorCal. From Rock to Miami to Briggs, rely on Greg Bell and Leading Edge Motorsports to give you everything you need to step into the winner's circle. Check out leadingedgemotorsports.com to learn more. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Welcome back to the This Week in Karting podcast here on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. David, let's jump into a new program, a Karting Summit program being launched by the good folks at the Atlanta Motorsports Park. Fantastic track down there in Georgia. It's going to happen February 29th to March the 1st down in Dawsonville, Georgia at that Atlanta Motorsports track. And they're putting together a program, bringing a lot of guys in from the industry and trying to do something good to bring new people into the sport. Maybe those who are already in the sport, give them a lot of hands-on education, talking to actual vendors and tech guys of certain product lines.
Yeah, they've been able to bring in a number of different partners to be able to provide some for those who are new to the sport or those who have just gotten into the sport that have questions or concerns or comments regarding products. You got IPK members coming in. You have officials from Miami, Tillotson, MG Tires, and AIM reps, all covering a wide range of topics for those who are going to be able to take part in this karting summit. They also have F1 driver Felipe Nassar hosting a Q&A during one of the lunches that will be taking place during the summit. So if not only that, a cool opportunity to meet a cool professional driver.
Yeah, no doubt about that. $149 per person. It's a 2-day program, February the 29th to March the 1st. And if you want information on that, I think it's www.atlantamotorsports.com. Look for their karting section. I'm sure it's in there. There's also links on ekartingnews.com. We'll push it out there for those of you to be able to look at our Facebook page, and we'll get that pushed out as well. David, more work being done, more the expansion for MG Tires as they add some new partners for 2020 as well.
Yeah, MG Tires has been a long standing tire here in the United States for the last couple of decades now. Yeah. Excuse me, and continues to add new tracks, new clubs, new dealers each year. 2020 brings on a very notable racetrack with Newcastle Motorsports Park and the KRA series that it runs. now calling the MG tires their official tire for the program. So it's a big move for the series that is there, and a big addition for MG tires to add on a facility and series just as big as Newcastle is.
Yeah, a couple of tracks up in the Northeast coming on board as well. United Karting in Hanover, Maryland, and Lafayette Motorsports Park in Lafayette, New York, adding the MG tires as their spec tire as well. David, the MGs, the new MGs, the yellow SM and the red SH tire getting their first reviews down at the Superkarts USA Winter Series. And from everybody I talked to, obviously very, very pleased with the new program, the new MG tires.
Yeah, again, it's all about reliability and performance. And again, the homologation season brought forth these new changes to the tires and the new name. And again, they're still providing a sound rubber compound for competition with the yellow and red tires that continue to be the popular brands throughout the United States.
Yeah, they also have a rental kart tire that they are promoting to the facilities around the country, the RL3. And plus, we've actually been seeing it on social media, on Facebook, as a new program. I mentioned already United Karting and Lafayette Motorsports Park. They're part of a new program called the Spartan Mid-Atlantic Kart Series. That'll go, it's August to December, Dave. It's like it's a second half of the year program, adding in OVRP and GoPro, right?
Yeah, second half program, August to December. So again, like you said, Lafayette Motorsports Park has added an MG tire brand. The United Karting program has added MG tires. So those two tracks, you add in the Oakland Valley Raceway Park up there in New York as well. That's the third facility that they'll visit, and then they'll wrap it all up in GoPro in December. So yeah, again, a little second half series. So there's again our season is so front loaded. Because by the time you get to September, a lot of racing has been done. So it's for those competitors that have kind of tuned in on their season, and either it's gone good or it's gone bad. And it's a kind of a new opportunity to end it well.
That's right. One of the pieces of news that came down, though, I think is really exciting because, in my opinion, anytime we can kind of open up public karting and public racing in certain areas that maybe are underserved with it, I think it's a huge thing for the sport. And I know people around the area in that Cincinnati area are very happy to hear, especially if you think about a 1 hour or 2 hour window around it. The new Pro-Am Karting Championship was announced for 2020. It'll take place at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Sean Bailiff and the family there at Trinity Karting Group are the pros at the track. It's a member-owned facility that obviously, just like a country club, you have your kart store there. You roll in, you can drive whenever you want. You know, they're there to take care of your stuff. They do training, but they've decided to open up and actually have a 6-race series, David, which I think is amazing. This Pro-Am Karting Championship is going to kind of be a Superkarts USA program to get guys dialed in with those IAME classes. Plus, they're bringing in the Ignite Senior and Masters class. The series is going to run from April to October. But the track located just east of downtown Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio. David, to have this program in that area, I think it's going to make a lot of people happy and potentially bring some new people into the sport.
Well, not only new people, but provide an opportunity for drivers to advance, because I believe in the southwestern part of Ohio, if not throughout the whole state of Ohio, it's really grassroots based, where there's a lot of Briggs racers, there's a lot of 100cc racers. So I think the opportunity now for a facility to kind of wrap its arms around the IAME program with all the way down from micro all the way up to shifters kind of opens the eyes to the racers that are in that region, and is a great, as you said, great opportunity for MCC to kind of open its doors to those who are outside the membership and be able to get a taste of what the facility there offers. And then, as you said, adding the Ignite Senior and Masters program allows those new people to take part in what they have in that track club program.
Yeah, I think that in talking to Sean Bailiff, he was super excited to add the Ignite Senior and the Ignite Masters category. I think he can see how it's growing around the country. Of course, their Ignite Majors kicking off at the 2 Winter Series races, and they had some really good numbers down there. Strong, obviously, coming out of what is kind of the roots of the program at Gateway Kartplex in St. Louis. I think that program is going to keep growing, and adding on this program here, this Pro-Am Karting Championship and events at the MCC are going to be solid. One last thing for the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, David, they're actually going to be hosting the final round of the Pro Kart Challenge East Series as well in October.
Yeah, so opening up the doors to the public allows them to bring in certain events, and I think this is a great opportunity for the SCUSA Pro Kart Challenge East to get a footing in the state of Ohio at a facility like this, and good partnership between them and the Bailiff family. And it'll be an October event. Unfortunately, we won't be able to attend because we'll be somewhere else. But it would have been a great opportunity to go down there and get a taste of what MCC is with the SCUSA Pro Kart Challenge East.
Yeah, hopefully we can do that in 2021. Continuing along the theme, David, of the Margay Ignite program and talking about the growth that they've had and kind of where they're kind of stretching out and getting new outposts. Information coming in that Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis has added the Ignite program for 2020.
Yeah, it was kind of part of the kart shop that is there at Whiteland at the end of last year. But because it came on so late, they weren't able to add the categories to their club program. But now that they're heading into the 2020 season, they're kind of all on board with the Ignite program, adding the junior and senior divisions for the WRP championship season. So, again, Margay Ignite expanding down in Florida the last couple of months there with the majors they've had. They got the Battle of the Brickyard. They got the Quincy Grand Prix, Rock Island Grand Prix, Elkhart Grand Prix, a lot of other tracks adding the Ignite program. So it continues to add. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ignite expand into New York here pretty soon with a number of drivers we saw racing down in Florida racing on the Ignite package.
Well, and that's so interesting you say that, because I had a couple conversations with the guys from Margay while we were down in Florida, and there's more. They're working with additional tracks, new tracks. I think in the next couple of weeks or a month or so, we're going to hear some more announcements of other tracks picking up this Ignite program, because it's everything we like about karting in terms of getting people off the couch, people that are race fans, like IndyCar, NASCAR, Sprint Car, whatever it may be. You want to get off the couch and do some racing yourself. And the low cost and spec nature of the program has just lowered that barrier of entry, both in monetary terms and kind of of people kind of being apprehensive of, man, I'm not very technically savvy. What do I do? The Ignite program says, come on in. We're all in the same package. It's really easy. You pull the ripcord and away you go. So I think that it's going to be an awesome program as it continues to grow. It's already fantastic as it is. And, expecting to see more and more tracks jump on board with this Ignite program for 2020. All right, so we're going to go to the next break because we got more to come. When we get back after this quick little commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit about the Cup Karts North America program. David Cole and I are big fans of that. We'll talk about USAC Karting. Actually, USAC Karting and Cup Karts North America, that's it. We're going to talk about the Battle of the Brickyard. We're going to talk about the Thor Industries Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix, which is back again for 2020. Folks, stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network.
Trader, Evans, Seligren, Birdsell. Karting legends are created here at the Quincy Grand Prix. This is Randy Kugler, the voice of this iconic event. On June 13th and 14th, competition karts will rip around the spectacular and beautiful 1.2-mile circuit set out inside the South Park of Quincy, Illinois for the 33rd time since 1970. The 2020 edition of the Quincy Grand Prix marks the 50th anniversary of the first time karters raced around this historic venue. To celebrate the event, a $10,000 cash purse has been established for the 4 pro classes competing on the weekend. A total of 11 categories will be competing for the unique trophy given to all race winners, the Gussie, designed and named after the original race founder, Gus Trader. Registration is now open, so don't wait and enter now at QuincyGrandPrix.com and become legendary. We'll see you at the park.
Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and safety gear to get you on the track. Shop AKRA.com offers a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure that all the latest equipment is available to you, the consumer. With customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price. Be sure to visit shopakra.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Also, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials, clearance items, and new products. Episode number 18 here on the EKN Radio Network or on the podcast, whatever you're listening to. This week in karting, February the 12th. David, we got lots to talk about here right now. We're going to kind of be, to a certain extent, four-cycle centric, but maybe not. There's more to come in USAC. Let's start with the 2020 Cup Karts North America class structure. I think a lot of people were eagerly awaiting this, just as they were the Briggs rule set, because Cup Karts North America over the last 2 years really has been on the rise. Four-cycle racing on the rise. People excited about the 206. Their Grand Nationals, of course, topping record numbers. They're going to have more drivers this year, but I think they're really excited to get out of the gate here in 2020.
Yes, it's an exciting program because they wrapped it all up with the Grand Nationals there at Newcastle with a massive amount of entries. And so they're taking that momentum and continuing it up into the 2020 season. And they've done that over the last few seasons because that Grand Nationals has really kind of boosted up that the grassroots movement that we've been following for a number of years now. And again, like we said, the 206 package with Briggs is it just provides that opportunity to just get off, like you said, get off the couch and go racing. And so the 2020 Cup Karts North America class structures looks very similar to what it does last year with kid karts still there, sportsman and junior still there, both categories still with the open body work, so you can run either CIK or the full body Gold Cup style. What they've done now is they've added two senior CIK classes. Now there's a total of three in all total. You have senior light at 340, you have a senior medium at 365, and a senior heavy at 390. And that 390 matches up with the master's weight still. And then they combined.
Too heavy.
It's too heavy. And they combined last year's senior light and senior heavy that were open body work. They've combined it into one category. So again, the class structure is still small enough to where you're able to run multiple rounds in a weekend. So they'll have their Saturday and Sunday rounds. But again, the senior packages provide the opportunity to run multiple categories at different weights. Something we haven't never seen in karting. It's very typical that it happens because weight is such a big factor in our sport. But as you said, weights are a little high. The 390 is just outrageous, as we've said, but there's people that do it. And again, we'll see how the numbers shake out. I think the senior light category is going to be big because it provides some of those younger drivers the ability to move up without having to add a ton of weight on. And then there are still some of the elder drivers who are lightweight, and they can go run at that 340 pounds.
That's very true. And again, this is more of a typical thing that we've seen over the years with the light, medium, and heavy, and it works because there are obviously a lot of different size drivers. You and I both believe the Masters weight is too high at 390. And I think a lot of people believe that, but whatever works, right? The cool thing is that they ever did drop that, let's say, to 375, and somebody can't make that 375, they could easily run senior heavy if they wanted. That's an opportunity. But the bottom line is that this program, Cup Karts North America, continues to evolve. And David, they're evolving based on the racers they have or the feedback they're having from racers, right? The big guys like, hey, listen, we'd love to come and race with you, but it just doesn't work for us. Like you said, David, 340 pounds for senior light. You're going to get a young kid coming out of junior into senior, and he doesn't want to put 60 pounds on the go-kart. Well, this is the opportunity now for him to be able to race with a much lighter kart. I think you're right. I think that's going to be a big class, and I think you're going to see some fast Masters guys who are small enough do that too, pull the weight off and go 340.
Yeah, we've already seen that at 365. So again, if you're 140 pounds, your cart's got to weigh 200 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Still.
Hell, you and I can make 365.
We can make the 365, right? No problem. Yeah.
And
that's kind of where we're at with things. Again, I still have to write this column, but I want to get more data. I want to get more input to be able to write this column the right way. And so hopefully that'll get done as we move on throughout the season. And then by the time, we get to August or September, I can put it out there, and then people can start reviewing and looking at it like, oh man, we are putting way too much weight on these carts.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's a great deal. And I think what you're going to see in the cross section is a lot of guys that are going to be racing with a lot lighter go-karts, which is great. They will kick things off for the Cup Karts North America, David. For their Champions Cup is what they call their racing series. And, of course, the Grand Nationals. The 2020 Champions Cup starting at Whiteland Raceway Park on April 17th, 18th, and 19th. They'll get the Spring Nationals underway. That was a huge event last year. We expect it to be big this year. And then we'll cap it all off again. You and I already have this weekend locked and loaded. October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Grand Nationals 4. What do you think? How many drivers are we going to get? Are we going to go 350, you think?
Yeah, it's not unheard. I mean,
it's doable.
It's very doable with the entries. I think with the ability for drivers to do multiple classes now in the senior ranks, I think you're definitely going to get that for sure. So again, I think we'll have over 300 drivers. I think that's going to be the key.
That's nice. All right, so sticking with some 4-cycle, we'll add a little bit of 2-cycle in here as well. USAC Karting, David, they've set their class structure for this year's 2020 Battle of the Brickyard, another weekend that you and I have already penciled on the schedule. It's a new date, July 23rd, 24th, 25th, not that July 5th to 7th last year. Some movement at the Speedway with NASCAR coming in with their Brickyard event that weekend. We moved a couple weekends further into the schedule. Great for us. We're still able to come. But they did do some work, David, in terms of massaging the class structure based on kind of things that happened last year and some trends in the sport as well.
Yeah, not very big changes. I think the most notable is the format they're going to follow with the Briggs 206 medium and heavy categories. Again, both divisions had roughly 70 entries in both of them. What they're going to do now is they're going to split the fields into A group and B group for the heat races and pre-finals. So that way there's less karts out there. It's going to add to the schedule a little bit, but provide people with the ability to kind of get good, clean races in the heat races and pre-finals without having maybe 35 karts coming screaming at you if you get sideways mid-pack. And then they'll combine them into the main event from those Group A and Group B heat and pre-finals. So that'll be interesting to see how that format works out. Briggs 206 Junior Masters to return, all with the CIK bodywork. Again, one of the big parts of the Battle of the Brickyard is the Margay Ignite program. They will return with the Senior, Master, and Junior categories.
In addition, I think obviously as we work into the IAME program as well, David, the shifter card I think is one of the big deals. They're actually going to have a separate IAME SSE senior category, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the shifter categories are kind of going to be broken up a little bit. Last year was I think they had stock Honda separated from everything. This year the IAME SSE engine will be separated from everybody, so they'll have its own senior and masters class, where the rest of the engines, including KZ, Rock, and the stock Hondas, will be in the open shifter categories for both senior and masters. IAME X30 senior returns along with IAME masters, so those two categories are returning along with Yamaha senior, junior, and masters.
They also have essentially a 100cc category, 100cc in senior and junior. It's going to include both the KA 100 and VLR 100. And the senior class, David, they're opening it up for Yamaha and KPV. I wonder how many guys will maybe take an opportunity to run that class as well. If they're there running Yamaha in senior, they can also run the 100cc class.
Yeah, it just provides the opportunity for those. Again, they're trying to welcome everybody. It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah,
you have a Yamaha with a pipe on it. Come race this class. You still have a KPV with come race this class. So again, you don't have to be competitive. It just provides that opportunity for somebody who has these engine packages to come race.
Yeah.
And I think the KA100 and VLR programs are really growing, and so they had the opportunity there to include them, and so they've done that, and then you add those the older engines in as well.
All classes will be on Hoosier tires. The registration's already opened. It was opened on February the 1st, and we know that USAC was
Hoosier.
What did I say? Hoosier?
You throw in like a U or an I in between the two.
I've always said Hoosier, not Hoosier. I don't know why, dude. Listen, my dad used to.
Hoosier.
My dad run Hoosier tires on a stock car back in
let the dogs
on the back of the 80s, and we always said Hoosier. I don't know why I said Hoosier. Hoosier. Sorry, David.
There you
go. Registration's already open, guys. USACkarting.com. And again, who was the first entry, Dave? Who was the first entry?
He's the first guy out in every race.
Oh, wow. That's how you treat a friend. That's
a friend who rags on me every single day.
That's true. He's definitely part of the beat David Cole movement. That's for sure.
See? So I have to throw it in there when I can.
Gary Osterholt, folks, was the first guy to enter the event this year. Good to see Gary back out again here in 2020. Sticking with the USAC karting program, David, they're back again on August 14th and 15th. The Thor Industries Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix back again, racing Friday and all day Saturday. Were they going to go in the night? Didn't I hear something about them racing at night?
They raced at night last year.
They're not doing it again this year?
They had some night races last year. This year as well, too.
So,
again,
right?
Racing Friday night, because, again, you're not going to race during the day on Friday. Everybody's working. So Friday night racing and then all day Saturday. Again, and the great thing about this is it's not on the Scusa Summer Nationals date. With them moving their date up one weekend. This provides now the opportunity for Indiana people and those in the Great Lakes area to kind of be able to do both, because this will be the weekend after. But if you have Briggs 206, Shifters, Yamaha, Margay Ignite, and then that combined FK 100 category that we talked about there at the Brickyard, all those classes will be racing on the streets of Elkhart.
I like it. Registration for that event opening up on March the 1st. So again, registration open now for Battle at the Brickyard for the Thor Industries Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix. It opens on March the 1st. That's about 2 weeks from now. USACkarting.com to make sure you're part of the action for both of those events. All right, folks, a couple more breaks coming. This one here, ready to go. After this, we're going to talk a little bit about road tax. We're going to talk about one of our drivers here, American drivers heading over to Europe this year for Team USA. Stay with us. We got more to come after this break. Fast, fair, and fun. The Margay Ignite Spec Karting program offers you all of that at an affordable price. The all-new IgniteKarting.com page provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec package that includes the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine package and the Hoosier R80 tire. An Ignite K2 is designed for ages 8 to 12, while the Ignite K3 is available for junior, senior, and masters drivers. The 2020 season has a handful of major events for Ignite Karting. The historic Quincy Grand Prix is set for June 13th and 14th, racing through the city's famed South Park. The USAC Karting Battle at the Brickyard on July 14th, 15th, 16th is held inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you have a chance to take a lap around the famed 2.5-mile oval and the special Yard of Bricks. All information on events throughout the country and Ignite Kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at IgniteKarting.com. Head there now to register for the upcoming SCUSA Winter Series event on February 7th, 8th, and 9th at AMR Motorplex in Homestead, Florida. Arrive and drive packages are still available. So get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. The first round of the fastest growing Rock Cup program in the U.S., the Challenge of the Americas, is already in the books. So get out your calendar and mark off the final 2 dates on the schedule. It's the program's 13th season and year 3 of our Rock Focus, and the kickoff to 2020 in Tucson was exciting. The field will be even bigger for the next stop of the series at Cal Speed Karting in Fontana on the February 21 to 23 weekend, and the finale at Sonoma in NorCal Wine Country on March 27 to 29 is shaping up to be the biggest races of the 3. Do not miss it. Our classes include Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, and Masters Rock, our multi-manufacturer 100cc Junior, Senior, and Masters categories, and our well-supported Rock Shifter and Rock Shifter Masters program. We're by far the largest shifter program in the West, with 56 unique competitors and an average of 32 shifter drivers in just 2 categories last winter. There were 35 rock shifters in Tucson, and more are expected for Cal Speed in February. Prizes include tickets to the massive Rock Super Final in Italy and the Rock the Rio event in Las Vegas. Event 2 is set for February 21 to 23, so head to the series website at challengekarting.com and get registered so you can join us in Fontana. Let's rock. Rocking and rolling through the order of all the stuff that has made it to the EKN homepage in this edition of This Week in Karting. David, obviously every year we wait for the information. Normally it comes at the event last year. Finally, we get the date, or not the date, but actually the date and the location of this year's Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, and I believe probably some deals that get worked out during the previous Rotax Grand Finals. This year now it's going to Bahrain for the first time ever, moving the date to November 7th through the 14th. So kind of that week before the Super Natch, and the week I believe the week after the Rock the Rio. So it there's a lot of events from October to November that are international and on the world stage. And this one being on the world stage as the Olympics of karting, again, bringing drivers from nearly 50 countries all together to compete on identical chassis with the same Rotax engines. This time, again, as I said, going to Bahrain for the first time.
So let's look and talking about international competition. And one of the things we've seen over the last number of years, which has been kind of cool, is this FIA Karting Academy Trophy. This year, the driver that will represent Team USA, a guy that we all know very well, and of course you follow in all the races you go to, Connor Zilic, going to be part of Team USA to represent them at the Karting Academy Trophy this year.
He'll take over the helm of Luca Mars, who represented the United States last year. Luca did very well, but only competed in 2 events because he did have a broken wrist for the finale, so wasn't able to compete there. But Luca Mars represented us really well, and I think Connor Zilic will do the same. He's actually been racing in Europe for the last couple of years. Has been, again, a Team USA member at the Rock Cup Super Final. He's been the Team USA member at the Rotax Grand Finals. He's been... he was actually the mini winner at the Rock Cup Super Final in 2017, won the Super Nationals that following month in Vegas in the mini Swift category.
Yeah.
Last year's K100 Junior champion at the SCUSA Pro Tour, was a runner-up in the X30 Junior category at the SCUSA Super Nationals. So a lot of accolades.
He's got a decent resume.
Yeah, he's got a solid resume going into the 2020 season.
Yeah.
Again, he'll be focused on the Academy Trophy and other European events that he'll be doing with Ward Racing. So very European focus scheduled for Zilic in 2020.
And I really think that Connor's experience that he's had over there and the success he's had, right? Not just running in those events, but being able to run up front. Like you said, he was a winner at the Rock Cup Super Final back in 2017 in Mini at South Garda. I think that kind of experience he had, I really like his opportunity to win some races here and potentially win this program. The series starts April the 30th to May the 3rd in Lonato, Italy. From there, it goes to Genk in Belgium on June the 18th to the 21st, and it wraps up September 10th to the 13th in Le Mans, France. Hopefully we can get another driver diary going because I love those diaries that we've had before. I think Connor's going to do a great job over there. I look forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, it'll be great to see him carry the red, white, and blue. And hopefully we'll get a second driver here in the coming years. We've had 2 drivers previously compete there back when the Academy Trophy program first started. But again, the spots are still negotiable through the FIA. So to get one is sound, and I think to have one driver to focus on and cheer for will be fun and exciting.
Folks, one more break here in this edition of This Week in Karting. When David Cole and I get back, we'll talk a little bit about what we got going on EKN, what the podcasts are now available. We'll just wrap things up for you, and we hope you stay with us. You've heard and read about us. We are the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Our senior program is the best in the sport, and we have the SCUSA Pro Tour X30 Senior Championship to prove it. Our coaching staff includes 4-time SCUSA National Champion Ryan Norberg, 3-time SCUSA Supernats winner Bonner Moulton, SCUSA Pro Tour X30 Junior Champion, 2015 Rotax Grand Finals Vice Champion, and Junior Development Specialist Luke Selkin, and our hands-on owner, multi-time champion, and IKF Duffy winner Mike Rawlson. This isn't sideline coaching. We're on track, and we dogfight with you. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. You learn more and more with every single lap. Our seniors win races, like Hannah Greenmeyer at the SCUSA Winter Series opener in Florida. And they win because they've been trained, coached, and honed by our RPG staff. Hurricane Hannah is proof positive. If you're a mini driver ready to move up, or a junior driver who's done with running mid-pack, join the team that will develop your skills and take you to the podium. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we turn juniors into pros. In 2020, we'll be racing at the SCUSA Winter Series, Pro Tour and California Pro Kart Challenge, the Florida Winter Tour, and the United States Pro Kart Series, as well as the IKF Northwest region. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. We're the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win.
The sport's biggest series east of the Mississippi is ready to fire up the 2020 season. The United States Pro Kart Series will be even bigger and more lucrative than ever before, supported again by the fine people at MG Tires in Miami, USA East. The USPKS will remain a 3-race program in 2020, beginning the championship trail at Ocala Grand Prix in March 26 to 29. The center point of the season will take our drivers and teams to the GoPro Motorplex to compete under the lights on June 18th through 20th, and we'll complete the season with the Hoosier State Grand Prix on July 16th through 19th at Newcastle Motorsports Park in Indiana. If you're looking for the finest top-level series featuring industry-leading IAME, X30, KA100, and Swift competition, come race with us in 2020. We've raised the prize bar even higher for our X30 Pro Senior and Junior drivers this year with a combined event cash purse of over $15,000. The Pro Senior drivers will be racing for $5,000 to win the overall weekend points and the Juniors $2,500 to the outright winner. Paying back the top 5 in Senior and the top 4 in Junior. No other series in the U.S. has this kind of payout. Pile all that cash on top of one of the best IAME prize packages in the country, and you've got plenty to be excited about. Don't miss out on the best series in the sport. Check out USPKS.com for all the information you'll need. Move up to karting, move up to USPKS.
Welcome back to This Week in Karting. Time to wrap things up for this edition. What is it, David? It's episode number 18, February 12th. Hump day here.
She's only 18.
What? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Wow. It is getting
it's
close
actually
to lunchtime.
17, but yeah, it is getting close to lunchtime. Yeah.
Some of the editorial that we've had on the website, I had a chance to blast a little article out early in the year about yourself, David Cole, 15 years with us, which I think is fantastic. 15 years as a journalist, 15 years with ekartingnews.com. You got to go back and wonder, calculator, how many races do you think you've been to representing us? It's got to be over. It's well over 200. 15 years. Let's say you go an average of 16 a year, right?
Yeah, I rounded it up to 20 because there's still races I go to that I'm not actually there, but I'm still representing.
Yeah, it's 300.
Yeah. So I would say about 300.
Wow,
you know?
That's pretty awesome.
International star, I guess I am. Yes,
you are. You're huge, bud. You're huge. You're a legend in your own mind.
That 2006 Winter Cup event. I mean, I was beating women off with a stick and drivers wanting my autograph. It was just amazing.
I get it. Yeah, you're big. You're big.
It's been a cool ride. Interesting ride at times. Memorable, lots of memories throughout the 15 years. And again, the sports just evolved dramatically from the first day that I sat behind the laptop to begin this journey till now. I mean, it's continually changing, if not year after year, but month to month. So fun, and we'll see what the sport has in store for it for at least another decade, right? We got to make it to 2030.
Yeah, we got to go to 2030,
right.
I think. Yeah, I'll only be in my early 60s at that point. Works for me. One of the things, David, I think is interesting, obviously, early on when you first started with me was the fact that, people see the website and everything we do, and wow, what a fantastic job it is. A dream job, and it is. If you're a racer, we get to go to all these events, but it's a lot of work behind the scenes, and not just the amount of work, but man, it's not all sunshine and roses because a lot of the times things are great, but a lot of the times we hear a lot of the negative stuff that the people don't hear. And I know that's kind of tough, I think, sometimes to swallow, to have to internalize, because a lot of the conversations we have, people are just bitching and complaining and moaning, and it's hard to hear that on a regular basis, I think.
Well, there's a difference between bitching and moaning and what's the word? See, 15 years. Constructive criticism. There it is.
Yeah.
So you want to hear constructive criticism, and again, it just depends on the person you're talking to, because what can be criticism sounds like it's bitching and whining, but it's just the way they talk. And that's
about us and about the sport, about everything. We hear about everything.
Again, that's just kind of how, 15 years, you kind of understand how people interact and feel and how they're passionate about things. I mean,
that's it.
Karting is just like the world. There's a lot of diversity throughout the sport. There's a lot of people with different backgrounds, different beliefs. And that's one thing that, and it's such a small niche community that it's hard to understand that this person feels completely different than how this person feels, yet we're all involved in the same sport. So it's kind of balancing that. You kind of just have to put away some of the BS bullshit that happens and just kind of focus on the better side of things.
And you do have to remember, David, even though you and I kind of look on a wide spectrum of the sport, because there's to where we are and what we do, and the fact that we support all the different organizations, whatever it may be, most of the input you get from people comes from their specific focus. They're focused on one series or one class or one level of karting, whatever it may be, right? People just, they have their opinions and thoughts on the one thing that they do. They don't, a lot of people, a vast majority, I would say 98% of the people don't look at a wide spectrum. And you have to take that with a grain of salt, and not even with that, you have to understand that and take it for what it is. I think that's one of the key things.
If social media has taught us anything, it's that it's people have their own beliefs and ideas and yeah, it's very hard to juggle that around and so karting is just like anything else where people have different ideas and beliefs. And like you said, the more I've been involved, because before I started doing this, I did think, inside my own box. I never thought outside my box. And now that I've been around, like you said, to all these different events, different places, different people, different programs, it's just, the more you experience, the better diverse you become and understand how certain things work and certain things don't work. And you see things in a bigger picture than a narrowed vision.
Yeah, very well said. We did have some great editorial recently on the site. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and check it out. We got a great article by Richard Seiler. That's called "Begin Again," going back to his roots, his karting roots. And it was about a guy, you got to read it, but it's essentially a guy that's been in the sport for a long time, was away for a bit, went and bought a shifter cart and got back out and had some fun. It's a really cool article. And again, there's the passion of the sport. We got a team diary from the guys from Racing for Children's Karting Team that were part of the Simcraft 24 Hours of Orlando. They gave us a preview, and that's going to be an amazing event. That event's going to keep growing, guys. It just keeps getting bigger in its second year. Look at that 24 Hours of Orlando. David, the December 2019 Driver of the Month, Mr. Daytona, Randy Folks. He was actually down at the Homestead race working with the guys in the Margay Ignite tent as an arrive and drive mechanic, and he wanted to say hi and thank you very much for that honor, because Randy, Mr. Daytona, definitely deserved that.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost every year that he's able to pick up victories. Now, there's been years where he doesn't, but he's added multiple on other years. So I believe the win total is up to, 57, he said, when we talked during the article. And just to be there from the inaugural Daytona Kart Week back in 1974 to be winning there now, 45 years later, is just amazing.
It's staggering. There's a guy right there we need to do a full article on. That's got to be something we work on here in 2020. Lots of race coverage on the website as well. We had coverage of the Florida Winter Tour race in Miami, the Challenge of the Americas race in Tucson, which was one of our EKN Trackside Live events, as was the final 2 rounds of the SuperKarts USA Winter Series down at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex. I just got back from that event. So great race coverage on the website as well. David, let's talk a bit about the podcast you've kicked out. Those of you listening to the EKN Radio Network know we start all our content. We stream it first on the EKN Radio Network if you want it now. If you want to wait a little bit, it becomes a podcast. David, you've knocked out, a bunch of podcasts over the last couple of days.
Over the last almost month,
the
last week or month, because it's shows that have been put out in podcast form since we had our last This Week in Karting, which was January 17th. So that episode 17 is available. We have our debriefs from the SCUSA Winter Series, AMR 1. We have our debrief from the Challenge of the Americas at Tucson, including the outlap that previewed that event, as well as the outlap that previewed the SCUSA Winter Series event that just happened this past weekend. So those are all available in podcasts. And then another really great podcast interview that you did, an industry insider with Terry Trader of Quincy Grand Prix.
Yeah, that was a fun getting a chance to talk to Terry about the history of the Quincy Grand Prix and about his own history and about stuff that they've done, the work that they've done to get this race going again. And I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm heading down there. A lot of chatter when we were down at the SCUSA race at Homestead, people saying they're going to come and run Quincy this year, which is exciting. We'll also be wrapping up tomorrow. We'll be recording the debrief of the Winter Series from the 3rd and 4th rounds there. I'm working on the notes on that. We'll get that recorded on Thursday. It'll probably be out on Friday. And again, all the podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. You can also get them at podbean.com. David, we do have more stuff coming on the EKN Radio Network coming up. We're streaming right now the live broadcast from the main events from the SCUSA Winter Series race. As I said, we got the debrief coming up. I'm going to be hooking up an Operation Grassroots. I've got Greg Jasperson lined up for an interview as well. Hopefully going to get Dan Roach to sit down and chat with us pretty soon for an industry insider. And later this month, because the next race on the EKN Trackside Live Tour is the 3rd and 4th rounds of the Challenge of the Americas. We have the Outlet Preview podcast coming. That'll probably be next week, early next week?
Yeah, we'll probably get that up on the radio probably next Wednesday, so a week from today, playing on the EKN Radio Network as we preview the events that are going to be happening at Cal Speed. And our fingers are still crossed. The weather looking good. No rain for that weekend next weekend, but it's still too far to place any bets on it.
Dude, it better be dry, because I just talked to Andy Saisman last night, and the Challenge of the Americas staff, we're doing smash burgers on Friday for lunch. We're going to take care of the staff.
Yum.
Going to rock some smash burgers. I'm going to have to buy myself a new Blackstone grill, but I'll leave that down there, and it'll be good. We're fired up and ready to rock on that. David, what do we got coming? We're heading out here. We got a couple of races, EKN Trackside Live races coming. Give me the schedule for the next month and a half.
Well, as we just talked about, we'll be previewing the Challenge in the Americas event coming up on February 21 through the 23rd. That'll be happening at the Cal Speed Karting facility in Fontana, California. So we'll be trackside there next weekend. You take it, I believe it's 1, 2, 3 weekends after that. We'll be back trackside. At least I will be trackside. Yeah. This will be a unique event, as I will be at the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Winter Nationals at the NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans, Louisiana on March 13, 14, and 15. You, however, will not be there.
I know it'll be the first Pro Tour race I've ever missed. We got a conflict with the opening round of the Road to Indy. at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. So my road to Indy and IndyCar duties are going to have me busy that weekend. I hate that there's a conflict. I got to be there, but we're bringing in a pretty solid replacement. Xander Clemens is going to come in. He's a young guy that obviously has a fantastic voice, does a tremendous job, and I was thrilled to be able to get Xander for that event. So you'll be trackside with the Giggly Ginger for that one.
And at least he listens to what I tell him to do. So that's the positive part of it.
You'll be the boss that time for sure.
I'll leave that one alone.
All right.
2 weeks from that, though.
Yeah, you're back on the road.
Again, we're both back on the road.
That's true. That's right. It's a double. It's what did we call it last year? Well, didn't we do it back to back last year? Didn't we do 2 of them like that last year?
We did 2 of them like that last year, back to back double jacks. This year,
double doubles.
Yeah, this year is only 1 double, so no double.
So it's March the 27th, 28th, 29th, the same weekend. We have the 2 channels on eKarting News, EKN Live 1 and EKN Live 2. David's going to be at the United States Pro Kart Series opener. Talked earlier today about how good that race is going to be. March the 27th, 28th, 29th in Ocala, Florida. And I'm going to be on the West Coast, Sonoma, California, for the final round of the Challenge of the Americas. Again, the same weekend, March 27th to 29th. USPKS is going to be big. This is going to be the biggest COTA race of the year as well. I think we're probably going to top 150 racers at Sonoma. So that's going to be, you know what? It's a good weekend for karting. There's going to be some big racing on the East Coast and big racing on the West Coast.
Yeah, both events could be record-setting because, again, the Challenge in Americas could set their record for the largest event they've had in the 13 seasons that they've been racing as well. United States Pro Kart Series began in 2013, and this could be their largest event that they've ever had since then. So, great. It's a great time to be in the sport of karting right now.
I love it. This is it, right? We talk about the pyramid a lot. And of course, these events like the Challenge of the Americas, the USPKS, the SCUSA Pro Tour, that's the top level. That's the top 5, 6, 7, 8, 5% of the guys at the top level that are spending a lot of money and doing a lot of racing. We're super excited. We talked a lot about it in this week in karting. That foundation, the base level of the pyramid, that's where all the support, that's where all the strength comes. With drivers racing at the clubs and the regional series around the country week in and week out. There's some tremendous stuff there as well, whether it's the CKNA stuff, the USAC races, just any awesome club race, a lot of those regional series around the country. It's going to be a really good year. Yeah, things are different. We're kind of split up in manufacturer worlds. That's where we are now. You're IAME over here, Rock here, Rotax growing as well. A lot of great regional racing, and of course, the Briggs 206, which is really, as we've said many, many times, press the reset button on club racing, karting for that matter, four-cycle kart racing around the country. David, let's wrap things up here on This Week in Karting. Anything else you want to add?
No, looking forward to getting back to the Challenge of the Americas next weekend. But before that, we got to tape our debrief. So I'm interested to talk about the things that happened in Florida to wrap up the SCUSA Winter Series. So again, lots going on here at the offices of EKN.
That's exactly it. And yes, we'll wrap things up with the SuperKarts USA Winter Series tomorrow. We'll get that debrief podcast, the review podcast recorded. David will get it prepped and out to you. Lots of content coming here on the EKN Radio Network, folks. Thank you so much for being part of it. Thank you for subscribing to the iTunes and Google Play podcast. We love it. Make sure you add us to your Spotify list as well. We're doing what we can to bring a lot of content for everyone here in EKN Nation. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in to This Week in Karting. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.